So those are the apologies for absence. Thank you. I'd also like to use the opportunity to ask the technical representatives here to just identify yourselves, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members joining online. I'm Ms. Tiffany Stewart, Senior Legislative Counsel for the Parliament.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stephanie Hamilton. I'm the Senior Research Officer.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Angelica Patterson, and I'm the Research Officer.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm McKinney Brown from the Legal Reform Department, a legal officer.
Thank you. Thank you. So, good afternoon again, honorable members.
I'm not too certain. Could you just say who is online? I'm just trying to ascertain who is really online now, because we heard out the apologies, but I'm not certain of the membership.
The membership online. You have a list?
So we have Senator.
You have it written? I know we have Senator Cavan Gale online. Senator Marlon Morgan. Senator Alan Bernard. Honorable Kerencia Morrison.
Good afternoon.
Very good. Yes, those are the members online. Members online, welcome.
Thank you, Minister.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you. Senators, let me hear your voices.
Minister, colleagues.
Yes.
Good afternoon again, everyone.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Chair.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. So, honorable members, senators, distinguished colleagues, and guests. And I want to welcome those online watching. It is a pleasure to convene this first virtual session of the Joint Select Committee on Green Paper number 1/2025, National Policy for Culture, Entertainment, and the Creative Economy 2025-2035. As Chair and Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport, I extend a warm welcome to all. Your diverse expertise strengthens our work. Established on January 27, 2026, this committee was established giving us the privilege to review and make recommendations on the Green Paper tabled in the Honorable House, Green Paper number 1/2025, National Policy for Culture, Entertainment, and the Creative Economy 2025-2035. Jamaica relies on us to ensure that once refined as a white paper, the goals and objectives of the national policy are comprehensive, that the national policy is underpinned by salient and sound principles. I highlight inclusivity and cultural diversity as so critical in building a cohesive society, that it is people-centered, articulates the right strategies to address contemporary issues, and to harness the power of our culture, tangible and intangible, for the sustainable growth and development of the entertainment, culture, and creative industries, which positions Jamaica's creative economy as a global powerhouse. The Green Paper is bold and forward-thinking. Again, I must go on record as commending the collaboration which saw the opposition working with government to present to Jamaica this green paper, which now stands to be further examined to move it from strength to strength. Jamaica's culture, our brand Jamaica, generates 90 billion Jamaican dollars annually in entertainment alone. 6.118% of GDP from film, animation, music, and music in 2019. We will work to remove factors which stand between this position and optimal, viable, and sustainable performance. Challenges such as informality, infrastructure gaps, data collection gaps, and IP vulnerabilities, intellectual property vulnerabilities. This policy tackles them head-on with goals of cultural confidence, preservation, governance, ecosystem support, and commercial viability. Key strategies include game-changing initiatives such as the establishment of an Institute for Cultural Practitioners, digital platforms, and is the foundation for other policies and sub-policies. Aligned to Vision 2030, SDGs, and global commitments, it fosters resilience, inclusivity for women, youth, disabled persons, wealth creation, and today marks action, structured review across cultural preservation, promotion and globalization, governance, infrastructure, intellectual property, innovation, world heritage, and trade. Members, your deliberations will empower creatives, preserve heritage, and globalize our excellence. The Green Paper for the National Policy for Culture, Entertainment, and the Creative Economy provides a strategic framework to enhance, to protect, to promote, and monetize Jamaica's cultural heritage and creative expressions. This policy marks a pivotal shift toward formalizing the national creative economy, positioning it as a primary driver of economic growth and sustainable development. By addressing long-standing issues such as institutional fragmentation, inadequate infrastructure, challenges with data collection, and increasing social protections, the policy aims to enhance Jamaica's position as a global cultural superstate. Specifically, the Green Paper places importance, among other things, on providing an enabling framework for the sector, preserving and promoting our tangible and intangible culture, cultural resource management, climate resilience in culture and heritage, concretizing the national identity, promoting inclusivity and cultural diversity, deploying culture as a tool for socio-economic change, accelerating the growth and development of the entertainment, cultural, and creative industries, financing and incentivizing the sector, providing for individual wealth creation and sustainable economic growth, prioritizing infrastructure development and the designation of entertainment venues and zones, providing support with respect to exercising intellectual property rights, addressing matters of governance, addressing capacity building, the mobility of the artist and the status of the artist, supporting the strengthening of associations and the establishment of a federation, providing a foundation for reparatory justice, that is reparations, providing inclusive structures for global collaboration and trade, and increasing protections and resilience for practitioners and the sector. So, members, the Green Paper is bold and forward-thinking. So, at this point, I urge contributions, broad consultations, timely reporting, with a final report shortly after. Together, we build a resilient ECCI, that's entertainment, culture, and creative industry, for a prosperous Jamaica. Now, we have to deal with some procedural matters here, and we now have to address how the committee will be governed by our standing orders. So the committee shall solicit and analyze submissions from the entertainment, culture, and creative industry sector, from cultural experts, from civil society, from practitioners, from private sector, stakeholders, and the general public. The impact: we will assess implications for cultural knowledge, national identity, inclusiveness, diversity, social cohesion, job creation, wealth generation, and entrepreneurship. We will assess provisions for cultural resource management, heritage preservation, status of the artists, artist mobility, and strengthening as well as leveraging brand Jamaica. We'll examine proposals related to the establishment and operation of an institute for cultural practitioners, innovators, entertainers, and creatives. And we will also examine proposals for the Jamaica Entertainment and Cultural Development Foundation, which of course will include a Cultural Industries Enhancement Fund. We will review trade and market access provisions, review strategies for capacity building, infrastructure development, and sectoral resilience. We will review provisions for enhancing and streamlining data collection and reporting within the ECCI. The committee will invite submissions relevant to its deliberations, written or by appearance before the committee. Committee will operate in accordance with the relevant standing orders of Parliament and will establish subcommittees or working groups where required. Committee shall commence deliberations within 1 week of its formal establishment and will meet at 2-week intervals thereafter until the completion of its work. Final report and recommendations shall be submitted within 2 weeks after the committee has reviewed the interim and finalized the adjustments to be made. At this point, I would like to invite comments and inputs from members of the committee. However, I just want to establish what the quorum will be for each meeting. And it will be 3 plus a chair. So 4 will make up a quorum. But I'm really looking forward to members all turning out at these meetings, and we're hybrid. So those who can't be in person can join virtually, because this is a long-awaited policy, and we should move quickly in having the review done, having input from the public, and have our report ready so that we can table that report in a timely manner to Parliament. So at this point, I invite inputs of members of this committee. I would like to use the opportunity to acknowledge the presence of Permanent Secretary Dean Roy Bernard from the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, and Mr. David Brown, Director of Culture, Entertainment, Synergies. He's the gentleman who makes sure that there is a synergy between entertainment and culture in the ministry, and the output becomes a very focused approach. I always say splitting entertainment and culture is like splitting a strand of hair. Yes. So members online and members in the chamber? Yes.
Thank you very much. I would just want to see whether or not, because I'm very, very interested in our historical sites. How are we going to twin that in respect to culture? Because it has not been identified properly in your green paper. But I would love to see it being twinned with culture, because the sites, our history, must go with our culture. And the second thing I would want to speak to is our the general public. When you say the general public, I wouldn't mind if we could be a little bit more specific. Because, I mean, we're going to just have anyone coming in, or we're going to be identifying like the church, the different groups, and so forth. So I think we should probably, in terms of, well, for now, the general public is good, but we need to identify those who we want. We would love to get the list of persons who will be participating in this document in respect to bringing it to where we would want to have it.
Thank you, Member Daly. In this document, do you have a copy? Right. Very comprehensive. And it, you know, under culture and entertainment, it's cross-cutting. So it involves the church. As the minister responsible for culture and entertainment, I'm also responsible for religious matters. And it's all a part of it takes into consideration all aspects of the Jamaican culture. It's, yes, and we're going to be inviting the churches to make presentations. Heritage sites are very much a part of this. And we can always, I'd really like to invite you to just go through this document page by page and highlight the specific areas. And you can even submit questions that we can come back with fulsome responses to you on it. But we will gain a lot from the public's input. We'll advertise for presentations to be submitted, submissions to be made. It was important that we hold our first meeting before the end of the fiscal year, and that is what we are doing. And I'm really happy that you all turned out for this meeting. So a commitment was made that this policy paper, this green paper, would have been presented, and we would have started the work before the end of the fiscal year, and we have done so. And then the next fiscal year now, we have to set ourselves a timetable that is not going to be drawn out, and that we will go through this document in a really expeditious way, but very comprehensively, so that we can move to the white paper. Welcome, Senator Morgan. So happy to see you here. Right. So, yes, we will treat with the areas that you have mentioned. I see a hand up. Whose hand is that? Yeah.
It is my hand.
Oh, yes,
Chair.
Senator Gale.
Yes, sir. Let me, good afternoon, and I apologize for not being there. You know, I'm always in that space, but I think there may have been a little miscommunication when I saw the information that the meeting would have now been held virtually. So I thought there was a change, but nevertheless, let me start, Minister, by commending you and your ministry for bringing this to the fore. I think it's an excellent move in not only showcasing, but promoting the enhancement of this particular industry that is critical for Jamaica at this time. And I want to share the view in targeting some specific stakeholders that I would consider to be very, very important for us to hear from. In preparation for this meeting, I would have started to look at a kind of listing. Certainly, I would want to hear from those other interrelated ministries. For example, the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce and the Ministry of Tourism. Also, critical in this would be an agency such as JAMPRO and the Heart Trust, and also the JCDC. But outside of that, there are some critical industry association bodies, you know, like the Jamaica Reggae Industry Association come to mind. Those other creative workers industries, the Jamaica Federations of Musicians, or any of those entities that represent the workers in the creative industry. And you would understand my standpoint with having worker representatives. But outside of that, I also want to look at, Minister, targeting private sector players, you know, like the large promoters, those like Reggae Sumfest, Rebel Salute come to my mind. But in this, I would not want to leave out those who can lend financial support. I'd love to hear from the commercial entities, the microfinancing institutions. If we could target those, because in my mind, those play a critical role. Also, a place like Edna Manley, you know, any of those education training institutions. And whilst not last, but certainly not least, again, the legal fraternity that deals with intellectual property, those intellectual property experts. I'd like to hear from those. And if there are any international partners that we can reach out to, UNESCO have a cultural economy. I know from my standpoint, Chair, I'll be reaching out to the International Transport Workers Federation that has a cultural working group to see if they can make submissions that can lend to this. I am also willing to kind of submit some other entities, areas or agencies that has not come to mind yet, but certainly I believe would be critical if we can target those for even a physical presentation or even written submissions. So I would want to submit that initially for this very first meeting. But I welcome this, and I think it's very critical. And there's also another legislation that has come to Parliament dealing with the film industry that I think can be kind of dependent on the outcome of this one. But thank you, Minister, and that's my submission for now in this regard.
Thank you so much, Senator Gale. You are on the same wavelength as myself. And that's the direction we have to go. We have to compile a comprehensive list of the various stakeholders, including MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies. In fact, part of the difficulty that exists is that the sector is fragmented in government because different areas fall under, in fact, 7 ministries. And there is no coordinated approach in treating with policy positions. And that is one area that has to be addressed coming out of the revision of the Green Paper and coming up with a policy position. And yes, there are challenges in terms of the finance sector because, you know, intellectual property is not seen as real estate. It's not seen as something tangible that can be financed and used as collateral. But it is real. And our public education program coming out of this exercise is also going to be critical in sensitizing the various sectors, including the entertainment sector. Professionalism, the fact that it's this economy, the creative economy, which is referred to as the orange economy worldwide, is the fastest growing economy in the world. Because at the center is people. The human resource that's at the center of it speaks volume to how it can be harnessed. And certainly Jamaica has had global impact with its culture being at the center. I mean, it's culture to the extent we call sports physical culture. And it has been at the center of Brand Jamaica. So, Senator Gale, your input has been excellent. Anybody who has ideas as to the organizations that we should invite, you can provide that information to the clerk, and we will come up with a very comprehensive list, and we will write to these organizations inviting them to make their submissions. I see the Honorable Carencia Morrison's hand up, and I just want to indicate that I'm happy to have the privilege of chairing this Joint Select Committee, and in my absence, Honorable Carencia Morrison, who is the Minister of State in my ministry, will act as chair of the committee meetings in my absence. Honorable Carencia Morrison, please go ahead.
Good afternoon again. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, members. Indeed, this has been long awaited and will be monumental in the impact and reach that this will have. And certainly it is being led by a veteran minister who will tell us that she's a practitioner in her own right. Minister, yesterday when we were in the House, one member noted that he would want to see the next generation of Sly Dunbar and Cat Core And I know that this, when we have reached a stage where we say this work is now completed, we are going to see this as a result of it. I would be interested certainly in seeing the youth views, the youth perspective, and the input of new and emerging considerations, both in culture, entertainment, and sport. And where young people can believe that they have a seat at the table, especially in this digital world. I would also want to hear, and this is in keeping with Member Daly and Member Cavan Gale, voices from the industry, because I believe that persons who have carried the torch should not be left behind or should not feel marginalized. Their voices, of course, must be heard. And this committee will allow for us to be inclusive. And as you mentioned, member, weeks ago when this was tabled, you assured members of the House that certainly it is not all encompassing. There is certainly space for discussion and for dialogue where we will be able to plug all the gaps. So I am looking forward to a very robust engagement led by you, Minister Grange. And I know that at the end of it, the nation will be proud that we have a strong legislative framework where our culture, our heritage, our entertainment, our sport, everything will be safeguarded. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you so much, Minister Morrison. And I would now like to invite Senator Bernard, who has his hand up.
Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, so as was mentioned by the other speakers, contributors before me, this is an important policy, and it's a very timely one, and I look forward to participating fulsomely to ensure that we can have our work complete and for the policy to begin enactment. I have a few, I would say, concerns, and really locating those in the focus that I think ought to be brought to this policy. Firstly, the policy, in my mind, should have as one of the most important objectives is how it is that it broadens the local economy. I hear Senator Gale and me requesting the input from many of the stakeholders that you would consider the big stakeholders. But I think culture, by its very definition, Minister, belongs to the people. And I would love for the policy to fully appreciate that notion and ensure that going forward, the culture will remain with the people and not be expropriated elsewhere. And so the people from which the culture spawn do not get the full benefit from it. Again, I fully understand and appreciate what is required by way of investments and sponsors. And from that end, however, I would appreciate more a cultural policy that really protects the interests of those who the culture itself emanates from. And so one of the direction I hope that this policy will take and ensure that becomes a real manifestation is a broadening of the local economic base.
Well, until technology gives us a break, we can, I can ask the members, the technical persons who are here, to introduce themselves while we while we get back online with our other members. Yeah. So we'll do the introductions, and then I will take MP Burchell. But just let's do the introductions so members will know who all these faces over here. Yeah, okay. 1 sec.
Very well, Minister. I would have been introduced already. So, I'm Dean Roy Bernard, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport. Happy to be here.
Madam Chair, thank you for the opportunity. I am Joanne Archibald, Principal Director in your ministry. The branch is the Culture and Creative Industries Policy Development and Monitoring Branch.
Thank you, Ms. Archibald.
I am Tajana Richards, Director of Entertainment Policy Development within the Entertainment Policy Development and Monitoring Branch. Thank you.
My name is Philip Clark, Director of Policy and Research, Ministry of Culture.
Good afternoon. I'm Lisa Grant, Senior Director of Policy Development, Research, Evaluation, and Monitoring in the Ministry of Culture.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. David Brown, Director of Culture and Entertainment Synergies at the Ministry of Culture.
Good afternoon. My name is Deborah K. Palmer. I am the Director for World Heritage and Cultural Conventions.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Tajana Taylor. I'm intern in the Culture Department.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Good afternoon. McKinney Brown from the Legal Reform Department.
Thank you. Those who were here early and introduce yourselves before everybody arrived, I'm going to just ask you to do it again. Thank you.
All right, thank you again, Chair. Ms. Stewart, Tiffany Stewart, Senior Legislative Counsel.
My name is Stephanie Hamilton. I'm the Senior Research Officer.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Angelica Patterson, Research Officer.
Thank you. Good. Thank you. All right. So, yeah, yes. So, ma'am, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Chair, for this opportunity. And I want to say thanks to the team from the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Sports, Entertainment, and everything else for the tremendous work you've done in helping to put this together. When we received this a couple of weeks ago, well, more than a couple of weeks ago in Parliament, I was impressed with the body of work. I felt it captured a lot of the ideas we had been putting on the table from as far as Denise and Natalie and other representatives from our side of the aisle. And obviously the work that has gone into it from the team shows great thought, great depth, and great respect for our culture. It's long overdue, very much important. And finally, creative industries, culture, and entertainment can become seen as a pillar, a key pillar even, of national development, national economic development, that is. What I found in my early readings, and I do have much more reading to go, is that it was very strong on diagnosing our problems. A great diagnosis of what we're experiencing in culture, entertainment, and creative industries. And obviously helping to move the industry from just being on the periphery, of just being on the margins, is going to be critical for the lives of so many of our artists or artisans and our purveyors of the culture. What I am thinking through is how will this committee, when we assess the consultations and everything that comes back to us, how we're going to ensure that the green paper is strong enough to turn intention into something actual, something measurable, some outcomes that can really redound to the benefit of the practitioners in the industry and the country overall. So things like governance, financing, implementation mechanisms, welfare, how we ensure that it's not just another beautiful piece of work that diagnoses the problem, but doesn't have the teeth to fix it. Because we're good at doing that, creating a document that says what the problem is, but when we get the teeth to fight it. So I will be documenting and sharing. I've already started to pull together some ideas, speaking to some international best practices. I'm impressed with what Korea, South Korea that is doing with culture. And you see how K-pop has revolutionized their culture and made it so palatable that Jamaicans are fans of K-pop. I want to see our culture being just as commercial and accessible, and not having our workers and those who have it as a craft just languishing on the sides of the economic divide. I also want us to think about some things like time-bound income stability pilots, like what Japan is doing in the creative industries. We know that it is largely seasonal for many of the people who work in culture. How do we help them to sustain themselves so they just don't give up on their craft and say, boy, I must suffer unless I get a stage show or some fest one time for the year, I can't survive in this, and so we lose another talent who could become a slide-on bar in the future, you know? I want us to also look at stronger single-agency delivery models for the creative economy. And I am not for bottlenecks, but I'm not for bodies that don't have the power beyond just coordination. Coordination is good. But right now we're seeing that where we have siloing, operating ministries and agencies doing what they want to do when they want to do it, will this body have the teeth to enforce across ministries, departments, and agencies? The social insurance frameworks that are designed, I want to see more explicit export acceleration strategies. Because yes, we want to enjoy our entertainment, but what are those explicit export strategies that we're going to build into the system? These are not just theoretical ideas, yeah, but tested approaches that could be adopted in Jamaica, and other countries, as I said, are doing it. Ireland is doing it, South Korea, Japan. They're doing it, and we have a bigger brand, I must say, than theirs, even in spite of our small size. I welcome the suggestions by Senator Gale about the wide-ranging contributions we hope to attract at this consultation. And I don't want people to just stay outside and complain that government and opposition not doing anything to help the youth, them in the culture, and then they stay away from the discussion. I want to see the media taking space in this conversation. I want to see our entertainers taking space. I want to see our people who are TikTok stars, who are earning from it, come and take space. I want to hear how AI is changing the space for our practitioners and how this piece of policy will protect them. So, as I said, I welcome this green paper. It is a solid foundation. The role for this committee, though, Chair, for me, is that at this stage we have to ensure that before it advances further through the policy process, that the framework is operationally clear. we have to be clear where we're going, how we're going to get there, and the outcome that we'll be able to measure at the end of the day. Doing so will, of course, increase the likelihood that creatives experience real and lasting change rather than well-intentioned but uneven implementation. And then they won't say nothing and go on, because we would have shown them that the government has the policy backbone to stand up and fight for them. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Member. Thank you for your presentation. And, you know, you have made some very important points, and it is up to us. That's a job we have to do here today. We're back online, and I would like to, Senator Bernard, if you're still there, I'd like you to complete your comments, your remarks. If we have lost you, I would like to invite Senator Rose Bennett Cooper in the meantime. I see she has her hand up.
Thank you so much, Chair, Minister. I had sent a message earlier to indicate that I would perhaps be absent because I had a matter in court, but fortunately it broke down early, so here I am. I'm very happy that I had the opportunity to join this morning. My thoughts and quick comments that I'd like to share, I'm not sure if they were canvassed earlier in my absence, but I am minded that, well, we tend to focus when we think of culture and the arts, we tend to focus on the economics of the arts and culture. But I am hopeful that we will put some thought and spend some time as well looking at the visual arts, and also to pay attention, keen attention to our students of the arts at the Edna Manley College. I say that with an understanding that maybe it was addressed earlier. I am not sure, but I want to make the point, and I actually want to have it placed on record because it's something, Minister, that you may be aware is very, very close to my heart. Think of as very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. This policy is about all the arts. It's the subgroups are many and diverse, and we'll be looking at not just entertainment, but the visual arts, the performing arts, the creative practitioners who do craft, diverse, all aspects of Jamaican creativity. And I'm happy that you're a member of this committee, because I know the visual arts will get the attention it should get in relation to this policy. So I thank you so much for your input. At this time, I want to invite Senator Morgan. Thank you, Member.
All right, thank you, Chairman. Let me also add my own commendations to you as Portfolio Minister, and indeed the technical team, along with the Junior Minister, Minister Morrison, for getting us to this stage where we're now in a position to hear perspectives and comments from stakeholders. I come to this discussion, and indeed the committee, from the standpoint of considerable optimism, in that we have an opportune forum and a useful opportunity to better coordinate, and to do so in an intentional way as it relates to aspects of culture, content creation, entertainment in general. Because one of the things that has perhaps eluded us is that we have had certain natural endowments and, talented Jamaicans among us, some of whom were spoken of earlier today, the Jimmy Cliffs, the Sly Dunbar, and so on. And the truth of the matter is that for a number of these persons, it has been a business of raw talent. You can therefore just imagine how much farther we could go if we had an ecosystem of support that would put them in a position to, more of our youngsters with the aptitude and the promise, in a position to unlock their potential. And so I'm seeing an opportunity as well for build out and critical support in relation to such things as instruction at school. So music, for example, shouldn't be a subject that is taken lightly by our young people. They should be seeing the potential of it and the potential monetization of the craft in some way, shape, or form, whether it is in a band, whether it is as a proponent of entertainment in their own right, in the way their peers and forebears would have made their mark in the space. So I'm seeing an opportunity for a complete and cohesive framework. You think of such things as talent management, legal services. Member Burchell mentioned just now the provisions for pensions, because you can appreciate that for many persons, they've had adverse experiences having hung up the proverbial boots and then not being able to fare well in terms of socioeconomics. So I am looking forward to even teacher training institutions attending upon our committee meetings and hearing from them as to what they would want to see in a policy that we come away with ultimately. Because as I said before, it is going to be very important for us to be very coordinated and intentional in how we approach just retrofitting this ecosystem of cultural expression and content creation that we have. To my mind, we should really be seeing culture, content creation, and entertainment as the next bauxite. Because fossil fuels are, depletable resources. They're not infinite. And so at some point, some estimates are, 15, 20, 30 years from now, we will have to pull the shutters down on, the commanding heights of the economy, such sectors as bauxite. But the truth of the matter is that our people are our finest assets. And as such, we have to, as a parliament, as a committee, and as a country generally, provide the enabling environment and that ecosystem of support, taking them right through from, exposure in the education sector, whether primary or at the high school level, and providing support in terms of equipment, because we know as well that being able to access certain aspects of, entertainment, for example, music and the arts, it can be quite prohibitive because violin lessons are expensive. Piano lessons can be quite challenging and expensive. And so if we can have greater support and making these critical resources and amenities available from the level of the schools, we should see more throughput. So that's when many of us go down for a weekend at a hotel. The entertainment that we consume is being provided, Chairman, by our own Jamaicans, and we can have greater retention of foreign exchange in the hotel and accommodation sector and not having to be tapping expats from elsewhere in the Caribbean and indeed around the world. So those are just my initial remarks, and I look forward to our engagement in the weeks and months ahead on this particular matter.
Thank you, Member. Thank you, Senator. Well, I'm really very inspired by today's turnout. This committee comprises 11 members, and we have the attendance of 9. And that's an excellent signal for the first meeting. I know the enthusiasm that exists within the members of this committee. They were specially selected, and they come with a passion for this area, culture, entertainment, and the creative sector. So great things are expected of the committee, and we're going to work to ensure that we provide the desired results. I'm now going to recognize Member Williams and invite him to make his remarks.
Mr. Pizio, Madam Chair, I'm truly honored to be selected to be a part of this committee. And I too want to adopt the sentiments of my colleagues in relation to the importance of this JC and the overall significance to Jamaica. I had a cursory glance of the green paper and the policy paper, so to speak. And there is a paragraph that jumps at me, that these industries, a paragraph at page under the heading Entertainment, Cultural and Creative Industries in Jamaica, page 31. And it says these industries generate significant revenue, and I'm looking at that specific area. Well, it is admitted that this policy paper is all-encompassing, and this ministry, the area of culture and entertainment is diverse. But I want to just zero in a little on this aspect. These industries generate significant revenue, support various employment levels, and influence national GDP. A key driver of growth within the sector is entrepreneurship, which enables cultural expressions, creative talents, and human skills to be monetized through goods and services. And I read that to provide a little background to what I have to propose or recommend. Senator Gale outlines and he adumbrates certain stakeholders, a plethora of stakeholders that we should invite to make contributions. And I just wanted, in this context, to add that we invite the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the parish councils. And I tell you why I say that. No, in my experience, I find that the issue of the Noise Abatement Act and its importance and its enforcement in terms of our cultural expressions and our economic creativity has raised some issues and some questions. And although I am not certain that this committee will be looking at the act in itself, because that may require another committee based on the act itself as to how it is to be reviewed. But I think it's a good time for us to look at the Noise Abatement Act and this whole issue of entertainment permits and tied in with entertainment zones, because it has been a vexed issue across the entire Jamaica landscape. And as members of parliament, we get the cries every day as it relates to non-granting of permits. You know, we get the complaints of persons saying we are suppressing their cultural expression because 9 nights and setups and birthday parties are cultural, innately, indelibly etched in Jamaican culture. And so there is this, I would say, battle between the state and law enforcement and, you know, to what extent do we curtail these expressions in the interest of national security? And I tell you, it's a vexed issue because it affects the entire country. And of course, we can develop our entertainment skills, our cultural expressions, and our talents, but if it is the outlet through which it is expressed is suppressed, then we will have a challenge. So I think that we should, and we know the contribution of these entertainment events to the GDP of the country and small businesses. And so I think I look forward to this committee. I look forward to the deliberations because I think this would be a good forum within which to raise those issues and, you know, strike this balance between, you know, national security and our cultural expressions. I look forward to that. I just wanted to raise a procedural issue, a procedural matter. I should have raised it earlier. I noticed you had indicated that the quorum is 4, but the standing orders do specify 3. So if it is that you are, and it includes the chair. It includes the chair. So if it is that, I just wanted to point that out, that in relation to the committees that the standing orders require that you can proceed with a quorum of 3, including the chair. May it so please.
Thank you, Member Williams. For joint select committees, as the chair, I can decide.
Very well.
And so although the standing orders would say 3 is a quorum, I would want 3 plus the chair.
Very well.
Right?
No, I'm just saying that in the event that you're not tied.
But our legal person will actually advise.
Very well.
All right?
All right, thank you, Chair. All right. So you are correct in regards to the ability of the Joint Select Committee to actually decide, and that is encapsulated in Standing Order 76, paragraph 2. It says the quorum of a Joint Select Committee shall be such as the committee may decide. And that is distinguished and separate from where we see Standing Order 77, paragraph 5, which speaks to the Select Committee, where it says 3 members shall be the quorum. In ascertaining whether there is a quorum present, the member in the chair shall not be included. So that's completely different. So you have the select committees as opposed for the joint select committees. So when it comes to the quorum here, we're looking at 76, paragraph 2.
Thank you so much. So I'm more or less following that in saying that 3 plus the chair would be the quorum. Thank you. And of course, I have recommended a deputy chair who is the Minister of State in my ministry. So the Joint Select Committee, as chair, I can propose those and ask the committee to agree to those proposals. So, do you all agree?
Very well.
Thank you.
Agreed. Agreed, Chair.
Yes, please go ahead, Senator Gale.
Chair, I mean,
Senator Gale, just
Chair.
before you comment, I just wanted to make a quick comment on Member Williams' remarks about the Noise Abatement Act, and that he would assume that it would be looked at, although it may require another committee. Well, this green paper is very comprehensive.
Right.
And so, but we're not looking at noise abatement as such, because entertainment is not noise. We're looking at sound regulation. So we will be addressing the issue of how we regulate sound, how we treat with the entertainment zones, and the relationship between the JCF and the sector. If you notice, there isn't as much tension at this time. So work has been going on. Work has been going on. Right, thank you. Senator Gale, please go ahead.
Right, Chair, on the same point, and I commend Member Williams for raising what I consider to be a very challenging and critical issue that affects our entertainment and cultural industry. And like the true counsel he is, today is not a day to make submissions, but he has found his way to alert us to something that is very critical. And, you know, it would be good if we kind of flag that issue as importance, that we find a way to treat with it during the discourse of these deliberations, because I can assure you that the attention is going to be brought on it. And for those who are watching, they are looking at, for us, instructively this kind of committee to be treating with that kind of issue. And it would be important that coming out of these deliberations, this committee, whilst not dealing with that aspect of the legislations, we can also make recommendations that, you know, those legislations can attend to. So I'd suggest that we can flag it and find some way to treat with it. But it's a good offering in terms of a submission. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gale. That's excellent. Senator Gale, I would also like to have your comments on having a union. There is the Jamaica Federation of Musicians and Affiliated Artists, but I would like your comments in terms of the need for capacity building and the need for some affiliation with an established union to ensure, because entertainers they're working. It's not just a pastime. And that also should be taken into consideration. So I invite your comments there.
Well, as I indicated earlier, Minister, I believe representatives of bodies that represent workers in this particular industry should be targeted to make representation on behalf of workers. I'm seeing, in addition to that, the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions being one of the targeted groupings that could make a submission. I know from my union, whilst I'm here, I don't want to appear to be a conflict of interest, but certainly my union, who also represent workers in the hospitality industry, which includes entertainers, could make a submission. I will discuss that with my own union, but also invite those other associations that can be far-reaching to encourage them to make representation. And I'm going to take it up to, as part of the expanded listing that I'm prepared to look at other industries, that representatives that can be identified and encouraged to make submissions.
Thank you, Senator Gale. And it's organizations and individuals who should be invited. Right. Is Senator Bernard back on? All right, I think Senator Rose Bennett Cooper had her hand up.
Yes, thank you, Minister.
Good, thank you.
It's also a quick comment on the references to the Noise Abatement Act, and just to say that the legislative framework of this paper takes that piece of legislation into consideration, along with the several other pieces of legislation that are relevant to the sector. And just to also say what it states here is that the Noise Abatement Act, as discussed in a previous section, is also to be examined with the Ministry of National Security and other stakeholders, with the intention of reviewing it to allow entertainers the greater ability to commercialize their craft through the staging of concerts and shows. And this will support the establishment of entertainment zones, which will further facilitate the realization of this objective. I know you basically had said that, Minister, but I thought it useful to point out that it was formally recognized and discussed in the legislative framework as one of the pieces of legislation that is pertinent.
Excellent. Thank you, Senator. Thank you. So at this point, I would want to invite any other comments, any further comments. And if there are no further comments, then we could look at, we could maybe look at any other business. But I want to make the point that normally the first meeting of a joint select committee is usually very boring. Just to the point, you just set up procedures, and that's it.
That's not with you, Minister. That's not your type of committees. Respectfully.
Well, it's going to be exciting times, right? And I'm really happy about the support and the turnout today. And I did promise that I wouldn't make it a long meeting. So again, I'm inviting any further comments. Maybe I should have a comment from PS, trying to decide from your side, who should I ask to make sort of an overall comment, as you all worked very hard on this green paper.
Minister, you are asking for that for today? Okay. Well, Minister, I would designate the Principal Director for Culture, and I would say, Minister, because she has sat with her team tirelessly over many hours to get us to where we are, and I think that it's appropriate that she gets to give the overview. PD.
Okay, so I invite Principal Director Joanna Archibald. Unfortunately, we do not have our Principal Director on Entertainment with us today, although the Entertainment Division is represented. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Archibald.
Thank you so much, Chair, and my Permanent Secretary, and I hope you won't mind my own expression of appreciation for the early sign and signals of commitment, dedication, and deep thought into making the process one that is not just perfunctory, but indeed rich and inclusive and diverse. We do want to deliver up to the people of Jamaica that enabling framework for the sector that underscores the importance of the culture that has kept us, that has won us our freedom, that has birthed our creativity, that has taken, Jamaica to the world. We want to ensure that we cement our national identity, that we ground our own aspirations for a just society in other policies that, and sub-policies that would be interconnected and spawned by our own policies, such as the national policy and roadmap for reparations. So it is, in fact, members, not just about monetizing our cultural assets, but very much about preserving it for people, for being good stewards of their, duty bearers, as it were. We want to ensure that we do accelerate the growth and development of our entertainment, culture, and creative industries so that they first, those practitioners that have served us, that have been ambassadors for us, are served well into their own old age and even beyond. We say in culture that it's from cradle to the grave, that culture spans and nurtures, and we want to be sure that what we do for generations, sustain those who have made us. We have heard from a great number of stakeholders already, within the government in particular, ministries, departments, and agencies, that we work hand in hand with. We want to be sure that although we have begun and really advanced, I would say, a process of engaging you know, practitioners and cultural communities in the dialogue, that we go deeper now that we have the benefit of you, the representatives of our people and those in the upper house, sitting in one joint select committee. Taking us to this point, it has been lengthy, we know, but it, you know, things worth having are worth fighting hard for, and that's what I recognize that we are all about. And so, thank you. We are here to serve, and we are pleased and grateful for the opportunity so to do.
Thank you so much, Ms. Archibald. Very good. But P.S., I'm tempted to ask David Brown, who deals with synergies between entertainment and culture in the ministry, to touch on that synergy. Right? Yes.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Thank you, Chair. One of the things that came out of the promulgation of the draft and where we are now for the National Cultural Policy really came out an examination that, and I think you have said so yourself, Minister, that splitting hairs is looking at entertainment and culture separately. They are part of a wider whole. And that especially in how Jamaican culture is expressed, there is no entertainment without using cultural forms, what we call living heritage elements in the draft. And there is no entertainment without culture, and vice versa. So what we want to do in this policy is to ensure as much as possible that there is a nexus between attempts toward the further development of the entertainment sector and culture as we know it and can be expressed in the future. There are many new movements that are taken into consideration within this policy, with how you safeguard and protect and allow culture to thrive, similar with entertainment. So we don't look at anything within a vacuum and try to develop each, vice versa, but as part of a comprehensive whole, part of a wider ecosystem. And that's how organic Jamaica's culture and entertainment industries have always functioned. Member Williams mentioned how the development took place of music earlier, really with artists expressing their own unique styles and expressions. And if it were able to do so without or apart from a formal government structure, how much so now can it benefit from this kind of document that says, listen, the government will provide X, Y, and Z for the support of artists and entertainers and the creative industries. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, David. I will ask Senator Gale, who has his hand up, to
Thank you, Chair.
make his remark.
Just one final comment from me. Now that you have gotten us focused and already entertained, February is a short month, taking away a few days, including a holiday. But I'm hoping that in the very early part of, the latter part of February, to the very least, this committee will be meeting again at that time to look at the list of targeted groups and stakeholders that we can invite to look at the very various mediums that we're going to use to invite them and the time frame that we expect submissions to be made, so that there is the appearance of continuity of deliberation. I'm hoping we can do that, Minister.
Thank you, Senator Gale. We are actually ready for that. We do have a short list here, and I'm going to invite members to suggest other names today, and they can also send the names in to the clerk of the committee. And I'm proposing that we meet on Wednesday the 25th of February. I did say earlier that I'm hoping we would meet every 2 weeks, but in 2 weeks, the Wednesday will be Ash Wednesday. So we'll move to the following week, and we will meet at 2 p.m. And again, hybrid. I like to come in the chamber. I like it to be in person because it sort of builds a spirit or a creative spirit. We get energized. So as much as possible, we can do it in person. And we may have some interesting encounters with individuals from the sector who would want to come and make their presentation. So I think our meetings would be quite exciting if we try to do them in person. But if an individual member can't make it in person, there is always the option for virtual. So I'm proposing Wednesday, the 25th of February, 2 p.m. here in the chamber. And I'm just going to go through the names, the list of entities that we have so far jotted down, and others you may want to recommend. Yes. JAMPRO, JCDC, Edna Manley College, the Legal Fraternity, Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the Jamaica Federation of Musicians and Affiliated Artists, JARIA, Jamaica Vintage Jamaica Vintage Artists Association. There is JAFTA, which is the film entity. We can invite members of the dance fraternity, the various dance companies, movements, LACATCO, NETC. There are also the legal fraternity. We could determine, we can invite individual lawyers who we know are representatives of entertainers, and also the Bar Association. Go ahead, Member Daly.
Or I missed the point, is the Vendors Association.
Yes, the Vendors Association. And community organizations, because they have their round robin, they have their dance. We can invite the Domino Association. They have community competitions and they play music.
The CDCs, would be good too.
That's right, the community development councils, committees, community development committees, the SDC, the churches, can invite the umbrella group of churches and this, maybe the individual church organizations, Seventh-day Adventists, who have a fantastic music program, the evangelical movement, the full gospel churches, and a number of other church organizations. So you can make recommendations, and I will see what other entities we can come up with. And it's not just about remembering entities that are based in Kingston. There is the Negril Musicians Association, Artists Associations. All right, the legal officer would like to make a comment.
Thank you, Chair. Just a recommendation. In order for us to understand the intricacies of intellectual property, I'm just recommending that we also invite and add to the list JIPO, Jamaica Intellectual Property Office. Yeah.
Yes, so JIPO, JCAP, Jam Copy. In fact, we do have a list. We do have a list in the ministry, and we can match that list against the list that we are putting together here, because we have the e-registry, which comprises members of the creative sector right across. And we can go to the e-registry and invite those organizations. Yes, we send them letters and invite them to make presentations, submissions here in writing, and they can come and do it orally as well. So I think that members, I'm just reminded that we have, the ministry is staging its annual career expo in the creative sector on the 25th. And so it would be a clash with the committee meeting. So what I would like to recommend is that the clerk will be in touch with a date, maybe the following week, but the clerk will reach out. The 4th of March. All right, so we will settle on the 4th of March. We settle on the 4th of March. Members, are you okay with that date? Yes? All right. So we'll settle on March 4.
At the same 2 p.m., Minister?
2 p.m., yes.
Thank you.
I've been called 2 p.m., you know. I could resist that.
That's what we do.
At this point, I think I should just ask, any other business? Your mic?
At the outset, we thought we would have a 20 minutes meeting, and we have now gone almost 2 hours. Congratulations. It means that we take this thing very seriously.
Yeah, Member Daly, Minister.
Go ahead.
Minister, on that very note, as Member Daly is mentioning the 20 minutes, which is turning out to be longer. You know, a member stated earlier that we don't just want this to be a talk shop. We want it to be followed up by actionable items, and I'm in agreement with that. So my suggestion, right on the cusp of closing, is that we don't just invite a number of entities or individuals, you know, just for the sake of inviting them, but we consider how their invitation or their input will serve in strengthening the policy.
Thank you so much, Honorable Carencia Morrison. Yes, we will ensure that they know that their input will be recorded documented, a matrix will be prepared and considered by the committee in a serious way. And so that process, their input, their time coming to the committee and making their submission will be seriously considered. Thank you so much, members. If there is no other business, I would ask that someone move for the
So
moved by Member Daly and seconded by Member Burchell. Thank you everyone. Meeting now stands adjourned.